Drive like a piece of metal, shooting lights on dirty tires with some gouges, turning white. The girls out past stages.
Hello and welcome to the Fisher Protocol, the show where saying The Who is the greatest rock band of all time is not subjective, but everything else is. Please take a quick second to like, subscribe, and share with your Who-minded friends. The Who is a passion of ours, and no money is made from these videos. So liking and subscribing lets us know that we're not alone in Wholand. Constructive feedback is always welcome, either in the comments below or on Twitter and Instagram at Fisher Protocol. I'm Ethan, and I'm being joined today by my best Who friend, Tom. We do not claim to be experts, just two guys who like to talk about the greatest rock and roll band of all time, The Who. Hey, Tom.
How you doing there, Ethan?
I'm good. Does that sound like us? Does that sound cool to you?
I thought so, yeah. I thought it was good.
Great. Well, I mean, let's get right into it. Today we're going to be talking about The Who by numbers.
Yep.
It's a favorite of mine.
Same here.
Same here. Before we get into it, I just want to go a quick rundown. I want to place the album in context to what The Who were doing in 1975.
Okay.
Because I did a lot of reading this time. We had a lot of feedback last time, and so I tried to leave no holes in the game, even though I'm sure there'll be some. In 1975, in March 1975, Tommy, the movie and soundtrack came out. So that took a bunch of everyone's time before that, I assume. In March 1975, John Entwistle's Ox put out Mad Dog. In April 1975, Keith Moon put out Two Sides of the Moon. In June 1975, Roger Daltrey put out Ride the Rock Horse. And in October 1975, Roger Daltrey put out Listomania, the movie and the soundtrack. Finally, on October 18th, 1975, The Who released The Who by numbers. So as far as busy years for this band, I don't think it could get much busier than 1975.
Yeah.
But we don't have to compare all that stuff because in history, the only thing that's left with us from 1975 as a document for the band, I believe, is The Who by numbers. And it's simply an amazing album. Has some of my favorite Who songs on it. And and we'll get into this more, but any synthesizers that we found on Tommy's soundtrack or Quadrophenia or Who's Next seem to be gone here.
Yeah.
Almost entirely. Am I right about that? Or
Yeah, no, definitely. There's very little, if any, that kind of remain. And it's definitely a little refreshing to step away from some of that stuff and just kind of be a rock and roll band again.
Yeah, and some of the feedback we got last time, I don't want to go too much into it, but some people thought that we weren't expressing enough how much each album is different. I want to say I do think each album is different, and this is a shining example of that.
Yes.
And I've been yakking a lot, so I would love to hear what you hear about the verse song on this album, which is Slipkid.
Yeah, no, this, overall, the whole album's incredible. And it starts off, with a banger with Slipkid. It's just straight ahead rock and roll. Just kind of introspective on Pete, and, he's just kind of figuring out, like, there's no easy way to be free. Just all the pressures that he's got, he wants to just kind of be like free of responsibility, that kind of thing. And, I love, I was reading about it, and, he was turning 30, during this whole process. And he's
so old.
Yeah, I know. So old. So, he's just kind of like taking a look at it. Can he be a rock star? Can he do this? Can he do that? And it's just like, holy shit, I can't imagine like having done what he's done by the time I was 30.
But he's already got Tommy, Who's Next, right? Live at Leeds. Quadrophenia by the time he's 30, right?
Yeah. I mean, just writing My Generation was impressive enough,
Right.
Just that single song. But yeah, no, it's a great way to start an album. Super strong, number to kick off the whole album, and it kind of sets the tone, I think, a little bit. It's a good generalization as to what you're going to hear on the album, I think.
Well, yeah, and it introduces the fact that this is, in fact, a different sounding Who album. And like most things, I reference that box set Maximum R&B because that's the first time I heard this,
Same.
and
Yeah.
it made me want to go buy that record because I had never heard anything like it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna come back to this time and time again. The layered guitars on this whole record are amazing.
Yeah. No, unbelievable.
I tried to play this song for so long on guitar, and it failed so long until I heard them try to bring it back. And you hear Pete just on guitar before they start playing it, and he's working it out in his mind, and I was able to put the chords together the way they were supposed to go from that. But it has these suspended bar chords in it as well that go up, down, da-na-na, stuff like that. And I actually got some of that when I heard, like, before Widespread Panic did it at one of their Halloween shows. I heard their guitarist Jimmy Herring messing with that, and they did it, and it didn't go great, but it didn't go great live for the Who very much.
Yeah. No, I mean, I generally think that they write good albums and then live they're so much better. But you listen to some of these songs and it's like, yeah, no, that's a hard thing to do. Like, and this is definitely one of those songs. It's like, holy shit, there's a lot going on there.
It's an amazing song. I love Slipkid. It's one of my top favorite. Pete actually said Slipkid came sorry, Slipkid came across as a warning to young kids getting into music and that it would hurt them. It's almost parental in its assumed wisdom. But then later in 2015, he said how it could be switched out for a kid going to war, right?
Yeah.
And that's always how I thought of it. I did not think of it as a music industry song for kids.
Yeah, no, I didn't either. I'd read that it was part of Lifehouse originally, but it got left on the cutting room floor more or less. So, but he came back. I think he was kind of hurting for song ideas for the album, and this one made the cut for this one.
And the cutting room floor of Who's Next
Yeah,
is the greatest cutting room floor in the history of music, period.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And then we're going to get into that sometime early next year, I hope.
Yeah.
So right after that amazing song, we go into a pretty self-evident song from what I can tell is However Much I Booze. And
Yeah.
it kind of takes a dive from Slipkid into this quote-unquote suicide note, it was called in so many reviews here. And
Yeah.
Roger Daltrey wouldn't sing it. It was too personal. Do you like this one?
I really do enjoy this song. It's I think it's maybe easy to relate to for some people, especially like introverted people. And I would include myself in there too, is like I don't have a ton of friends in the sense that, or no, Jesus, what am I talking about? Yeah, it's just.
Well,
sorry,
it personally resonates with people.
Yeah.
And depending on what you're doing, I read this book about Dean Martin. And when he was getting towards the end of his life, he would have parties and it would end up with him and another friend of his, each alone in a separate corner drinking,
Right. Yeah.
such an isolating addiction. And I guess, he was bearing his soul. He was pushed to the edge from the Tommy soundtrack. He was pushed to the edge from in feuding with Roger in the press. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what he said was, drinking around the Who is the greatest thing gutter level life can offer. The bawdiness of the humor, the sheer decadence of the amount put away, the incredible emotional release of violent outbursts against innocent hotel room sofas. All these count to get a body through a lot of trouble. But at the end of the orgy, the real cancer lies untackled deep within the heart. So
yeah. It's pretty deep.
It's deep, and that's why Roger wouldn't sing it.
Yeah.
And just to throw it out there, the bass playing and layered guitars are amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the whole thing's incredible. It's just there's like a little with this talk about the music. There's like a little, guitar breakdown, like almost halfway through. Absolutely love that. Just good luck figuring out what he's doing. It just, yeah, I don't, this is an album like you just can't pick up and play your guitar with. Like there's so much stuff going on.
Um, yeah, but are you ready to go on the next song?
Yeah, I think so.
Because the next song is one you can play your guitar with.
Yes, definitely.
It's the hit off the record, the big hit, which is crazy to me considering what else is on this record. It's Squeeze Box.
Yeah, this was kind of like a throwaway for him almost.
Yep.
I think it was fun for them kind of to, I don't know, it just sounds like they're having fun, and relaxed, and there's no like ego or anything like that. It's just like, hey, like it's just let it be a good song. Yeah, I wish they'd let their guard down a little bit more, on some of these songs. Like it's to go from like super heavy, like however much I booze, to this where it's just kind of this fun, like kind of country vibe thing. Definitely a nice like breath of fresh air after, that really deep song. But yeah, such a good song.
Um, Now Ronnie Lane, Pete's friend, said he should do it. This was not in the original batch of songs
Yeah.
given to the Who for it. He said he liked the vibe, the country western vibe, and the banjo. When we did face dances, some people came back with kind of wanting some more in depth on what the songs are about. Sometimes,
Yeah.
so this is an interesting one to do it. As far as I can tell, it's about a man and his accordion, and he wants to learn how to play. But
Yeah.
but actually, I went to see a comedian at Magooby's in Timonium, Maryland, who did a whole stand-up routine about how it is about a sexual act that can't be put any other way than not cool way to say it here, so I'm not going to. Trust me, I've looked. But you can find out what it's about. And a very musically minded friend of mine, I enlightened him what it was about last week, and then he went over the lyrics and you saw the realization come over his face.
Yeah.
About, pardon the expression, realization about what it actually is about. And, on top of that, it became a huge hit for them.
Yeah.
They're
Oh, yeah.
in and out, in and out, in and out. And I did realize something last time I said, I always say John was getting shafted on B-sides. He wasn't. They were giving him as much money as he could possibly get by giving him the B-side to the first single.
Oh, okay.
The B-side of Squeeze Box's success story.
Yeah.
Yeah, which kind of makes sense.
I was driving somewhere with my wife the other day, and I was going through the album again, and I was like, hey, what do you think this song's about? And I played this song, and she was like, what the hell is going on? But she's like, what's a squeeze box? And I was like, oh, it's an accordion. And then it's like, oh, okay. But I had read somewhere that Squeeze Box was originally intended for a Who television special planned in 1974. In the planned performance of the song, the members of the band were to be surrounded by 100 topless women playing accordions. That seems fairly appropriate.
Kind of reminds me of the Bicycle Ride for Bicycle Race by Queen.
Yes.
And I'm not sure which one was first, so I'm not going to look it up. I apologize. I think this was probably first.
Did you see that Poison had covered this song?
No, I didn't, and I have as much interest in it as what I did 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, yeah. So I read somewhere that Poison had covered the song, and I think it was like 2007 or 11 or somewhere there in the 2000s. So I pulled it up on YouTube and listened to it, and it's as bad as you imagine.
I'm sure. Yeah. Because I think even Wasp did The Real Me at some point, and it sounded all right. And I remember this song being performed when I was at summer camp by this just put together band. Of course, it's the easiest Who song to play. It's one of the newest live at Kingston.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah. Which maybe we'll do Who News on. I don't know, at some point when I finally get my copy. but we kind of keep it in the gutter going to the next song, right?
Yep.
Dreaming from the Waist. What do you have to say about it?
I think it would be easy to say that it's one of the best songs on the album, if not maybe the best song on the album. Maybe not in terms of like hitting the charts and stuff, but as far as I'm concerned, I think it's one of the best. Entwistle, just clinic. This is a clinic on him, on how he plays and his tone and everything. Roger just, mows through this song. Great singing. The live version's a must listen. It blows me away. I absolutely love this song, and it kind of pains me that Pete hates this song. I don't know. It's in the upper echelon of Who songs for me. Just overall, I think it's one of the best.
And I gotta say, I agree with you, but I am specifically speaking about the live version when I talk about this song.
Yeah.
This has great layered guitars, which I kind of only listened to really the first time, because every time I listen to this, I kind of skip to the live one.
Yep.
This has a great guitar solo at the end.
Yeah.
Of this version. But I want to talk about more when we get to the bonus track, so Dreaming from the Waist. But
Yeah.
I agree with you. It's like a top 5, top 10 Who song, the live version of it. And it's for reasons I'll talk about when we get down there. Now we get into we get out of the gutter back to the point where you just want to kill yourself, as they said back in the day.
Yeah.
Imagine a Man. Pete says it just might be the key to the way rock could grow old. He says it was this the one where he says it wasn't autobiographical, but it obviously is.
Yeah.
It's one of these. And it always bothers me, like just the word rape bothers me. So imagine events that occur every day, like a shooting or raping or a simple act of deceit. We're getting into a couple songs where life isn't good for Pete Townshend on the rock star side of things.
No.
And he's dealing with lots of things where an act of deceit is a simple everyday occurrence for him. At this time, it's also important to remember they were suing Chris Stamp and Kit Lambert.
Yeah.
To change management. And is this the one they played on the recent tour?
Yeah, I think so.
So I took my 7-year-old at the time son to see that, and going to see a Rock and Who show, and right in the middle we have Imagine a Man. I really like the song, but it's not my favorite. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I mean, obviously it's a beautiful song. It's probably it's the first quiet song on the album, so it's just a little relaxed. Like, all right, you just kind of got worked over for the last couple songs, so you get to catch your breath a little bit. I think it builds nicely, throughout. Pete's playing is very just classic Pete Townshend. So, I love it. It's actually, I enjoy the song a lot. It's kind of fun to sing along to, with the harmonies and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I enjoy the song.
Playing a lot of rock band this weekend with my son, and I have a lot of esoteric Who songs on there that not a lot of people would have. Not this, but it gets weird. Let's do Rock Band for a Real Good Looking Boy. No one understands it. It was fun. Yeah, I like it. Imagine a Man, and I'm glad they were able to perform it live. I've seen a lot of the songs on this album live.
Nice.
I've even seen Success Story live, I believe. DC at the Black Cat, John Entwistle Band.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, if I remember correctly. Is there a more biting, funny John Entwistle song?
Ooh, I don't know. Maybe not.
This is great. It's got the 8-string bass. It has that. I remember that great video from The Kids All Right with him walking around his house, shooting records and everything. He takes shots at everyone in the band. He takes shots at himself. especially at the end when it gets to be a bummer. You know, this used to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's not afraid to dish it out, and including himself, like you said. And that's why I think he can get away with it. You know, he sees the comedy in what they do and how they do it. And, you know, you got Pete smash guitars and, you know, he's calling him a preacher in the song almost, you know, just how he kind of brought his spirituality into like some of the song topics and stuff. Um, yeah, it's a great song. And again, if you didn't ever look at the liner notes, you could tell it was a John song. Even if he wasn't singing it, you could tell it was a John song. It's so written. His style's pretty, I mean, I don't know, it goes all over the place, but this is definitely right down the middle of the road for a John Entwistle song.
Yeah, and that humor and the way he pokes fun at, you know, I may go far if I smash my guitar, or 6 for the taxman, 1 for the band, or 4 for the taxman, 1 for the band. You know, I just love all that. It's that rock and roll stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That he brings to the album. Are they all in love?
Yeah.
What do you have on this? Because I think you'll be surprised what I think.
I think it's a beautiful song. Again, a nice little breather. Chord progression's really nice. This one, I think, I listened to this when I did my notes. I listened to it twice. I was I probably got halfway through and I was like, holy shit, Keith is really, I don't know, his drumming was like almost poetic and how he was timing things and kind of ebbing and flowing. And so I listened to it again, just listening to Keith. And I think it shows you what kind of drummer Keith could be, you know, and it's not the version of like him just bashing the shit out of drums. Definitely like painting a picture almost, you know, very artistic style of playing. So definitely, I think, listen to it again and really kind of dial in on what Keith's doing. It's a pleasant surprise. You can tell it's just like free flowing, like drumming. There's not a lot of filter on what's happening with him. Really enjoyable.
I think it's really enjoyable too. And I love the drumming. I was going to say the drumming that moves with the piano. It's a piano and drum song.
Yeah.
And they go great together. Not 100% sure it's Nicky Hopkins. I'm sorry if it's not, but he usually does the piano playing on Who albums.
It is, yeah.
Okay. And it's my biggest complaint is I don't like the raspberry in the song.
Yeah, no, that's
that's kind of weird. But it says it all right there. Goodbye, all you punks. Stay young and stay high. Hand me my checkbook as I crawl off to die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it speaks a lot to Pete's overall healthy attitude towards young music, I think.
Yeah.
I think at this Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction speech, he said, you know, I might not understand the new sound of the streets or the hip hop, but it's not my job to understand it. It's my job to move out of the fucking way.
Yeah. There was one song, I can't remember, I didn't make a note of it for some reason, but he was talking about how he wrote the song, it came out, and then like 3 weeks later, like the Sex Pistols like got together. You know, it was something like that where I think it might have been this song where he's just talking about new music and like punk was coming out and that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of that on Who Are You, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of that on Who Are You. And he also says the song was about the band had become. It was about money, about law courts, about lawyers, about accountants. Those things had never mattered, and the band had a backlog of tax problems and unpaid royalties. We had to deal with it. It felt like crawling off and dying.
Yeah.
I was always also way too interested in how English people spell the word check, CHEQUE.
Yeah. Yeah, just a beautiful song. I really do enjoy that one. And it segues nicely. I guess on the newer versions, it segues right into the next song. Apparently on the old one, and I didn't listen to my vinyl of it, I've got an old 1970 vinyl of it, 75 vinyl. There's apparently a hard stop, but there's a nice segue on the newer version right in the next song.
I listened to my vinyl this morning,
Nice.
and I missed the crossfade. I wanted it there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no doubt.
It's called crossfaded from something on the box set, and it's definitely crossfaded on the CD.
Yep.
Glenn Johns wanted it on the album. This is what Pete said. Glenn Johns wanted it on the album. I cringed when he picked it. He tried to hide it away. I think it's kind of one of the most beautiful songs that Pete Townshend's ever written.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take a shot here at a well-known music critic, Dave Marsh, who wrote the book Before I Get Old about The Who, and he's written numerous books on Bruce Springsteen. In his original Rolling Stone review, he said, Townsend apparently oversteps only once on Blue, Red, and Gray, which is ostensibly simplistic enough to have been written by John Denver and is kicked along by his ukulele. Shame on you, Dave Marsh.
Yeah.
Shame on you. This is an amazing song. I've heard Roger do it live. It's great.
Yeah, same.
Yep.
Yeah, as I say, I saw Roger do it solo. It was great. I think it's just, again, just very British sounding. You think of the Stones, you think of the Beatles, you think all that. Like, I don't think any of those guys, like, they play rock and roll. I don't think any of them are very British or very unique sounding in that sense. But this song, I think, is like very British, very straightforward. Like, I don't know. It's great. It's a nice, happy song compared to everything else. So that's great. One of my favorites off the album. Pete hated it apparently. It was just kind of like some random like thing he was playing, and Glenn John was like, "Hey man, what was that? I gotta hear it." And Pete kind of wanted to dismiss it. I cannot imagine having the skill set or the talent or whatever God given, whatever it is, to like just come up with something like that, and you're just like, oh yeah, no, it's just whatever, it's something like.
Yeah, and I thought it was the love song for the very longest time, and it is, but there's only one real line about it. And of course, it's about all of his best love songs. It's about Mayor Baba.
Yeah.
So, and John does a nice little horn arrangement on it too. It ends up really nice. How many friends do you really have?
Yeah.
Me personally, I can count them on the one hand.
No. Oh yeah, same here. And that's I was looking at my notes. Somewhere I scrolled earlier when I was talking about however much I booze. I started reading my notes for how many friends. And I was gonna say this is definitely relatable for me as far as being like an introverted person. Like anybody who kind of wants to be friends, I'm always a little skeptical right off the bat. Like, do they actually want to be my friends? Is there something going on? And Pete in the song talks about like, the guy talking to him and he's like, is he really just after my ass? That kind of thing. So, it's definitely, I think people can relate to it. And like I said, definitely people who are introverted. I'm the same way. I have a handful of friends and that's it.
And you're not a rock star where people trying to be your friend all the time.
Oh, I can't imagine. Yeah.
And Keith said it was his favorite song on the album, that he cried when Pete played it for him. Because, it sounds like a really deep personal song, but one that almost probably every member of The Who can relate to and get behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an epic song. Just builds up. Pete's playing is top notch. I think I'm disappointed it's not a song that's more well known. It's a hidden gem in the whole catalog. I think it's definitely a special song.
It's definitely great. And we end on one of the hardest rocking songs on the album that for a while I almost forgot it existed, but then you go back to this album and you're like, oh, this song is on here. It's In a Hand or Face.
Yeah.
It's all funny how they're all Cleopatra when you gaze into their past. I love this song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's just the hard rocking who-ness of it. It's short and it does kind of end. Maybe not the best closer of the album.
Yeah, I think that's what gets me.
Yeah. I don't know what I'd put there in its place.
Yeah, in my notes, I said I'd switch this song and How Many Friends.
Okay.
Just flip-flop the last two real quick.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because this one, In a Hand or Face, it just kind of is there and then it ends and it like, I don't get like any satisfaction on how the album ends. It just, if you flip those two songs, I feel like you would, enjoy that album just a smidge more.
And Pete said In a Hand or Face was cynical and tried to cut down the growing dependence I had on mysticism and psychic phenomena. Whatever that means.
Yeah.
I know it requires a capo change when you're going to play it, so it's hard. But before we do the bonus tracks, I just want to say that this is the document of The Who in 1975.
Yep.
It's not the John Entwistle Ox. It's not Two Sides of the Moon, thank God. It's not the Tommy movie, thank God. We'll get into that later. It's this, and it is a great record.
Yeah.
And, I'm not going to talk about, of course, Behind Blue Eyes is amazing live.
Yeah.
Squeezebox is okay live.
Yeah.
But Dreaming from the Waist live, whether it's this one where I think it's a different one that's on the 30 Years set. I thought they were same, but I think I read they're different. I could be wrong. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll have to look at it.
It is amazing. And I don't understand why they didn't have a bass solo of 515 before 1996.
Right.
You know what I mean? But this is it. Pete Townshend doesn't like to play songs that are really high up on the fretboard live, he says.
Huh.
Live, they're difficult for him. He says he doesn't like Sister Disco because of a lot of that stuff. And these two. But after the first intro, man, it's just all rock all the time and all John Entwistle, and it's amazing. The live Dreaming from the Waist is one of my top 5 Who tracks of all time.
Yeah, I definitely would agree. It just mows through people. It just hits you upside the head, and it's a great song. It's definitely one of the songs I'll play for somebody who is like never listened to the Who or not been into it or just kind of knows they exist but doesn't kind of realize the level of like talent and power that band had and has. This is amazing for sure.
And I will post a link up here searching for the song. I found an amazing bass cover from a gentleman named Jonathan Campagna. I'm sorry if I got that name wrong. I sent it to
Camp 2112 is his username.
And just look up his Dreaming from the Waist, and I'll leave a link. I was like, oh, a guy's going to cover Dreaming from the Waist. This will be interesting. And I had just finished my once every 4 years, I'll pick up the real me in a bass and try to see what I can do. And I fail immediately. And and this guy nailed it. You should really, if anyone's watching, check it out. Click the link and check it out.
Murders it. Absolutely. I mean, the tone, the playing, everything just absolutely murders it. It's incredible. You sent it to me and I watched it 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, it's crazy. The last thing I want to mention is the Judd Apatow show from the 2000s, Freaks and Geeks. Did a whole episode where the backdrop was them going to see Who concerts, and there's a lot of Who by numbers in there. And in an earlier episode, they used slipkid, so check out I think Dead Dogs and Gym Teachers episode of Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is hilarious. They talk about Squeezebox and what it means and what it doesn't mean. There's guitar smashing, even though there are anachronistic shirts that didn't exist back then. That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
I got mine.
Nice.
I got this. And the Who by numbers, I might add, is the only like Who sticker I've put on a guitar on my Epiphone EJ200. I have a Who by Number sticker on there. Oh, what do you think of the artwork?
Great. Yeah, no, definitely. Read about it a little bit. I think Entwistle was saying that because he did the cover, he said the Quadrophenia album cover cost as much as a house or some shit. And he goes, so they each take turns on doing the album covers, or at least coming up with the ideas apparently. And it was his turn to do this one, and he's like, yeah, it cost 32 pounds to make.
Right on.
Instead of the 16,000 pounds or whatever they cost to the Quadrophenia.
Well, the Quadrophenia kid, they had to get out of jail, I think.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, he said it took him an hour. Everything took him an hour, and then he had to do the dots, and the dots took him 3 hours.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's a good cover. All right, man. I think we should go to the ranker, huh?
Yeah.
So in the order we've listened to them, we've listened to Quadrophenia. Here's our ranker so far. Quadrophenia, Who, Endless Wire, Face Dances, It's Hard. Is the Who by Numbers better than It's Hard?
Yes.
Is the Who by Numbers better than Face Dances?
Yes.
Is the Who by Numbers better than Endless Wire?
Yes.
Is the Who by Numbers better than Who?
Yes.
Is the Who by Numbers better than Quadrophenia?
No.
There you go. So we'll put that in at number 2. So right now we have Quadrophenia, the Who by Numbers, Who, Endless Wire, Face Dances, and It's Hard. Trucking through.
It's gonna be hard to beat this number 2 slot for sure.
Yeah. But next time we're not even doing a ranker.
No.
We're gonna take a break. We're gonna take some time to listen to, what did we decide on, 4 copies or 5 copies of Tommy?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. And we're gonna just do a holiday thing where we get together, live in a house, have a drink in the middle of the afternoon, and talk about some Tommy, some different versions of Tommy. And I think it's gonna be fun. That's probably gonna be sometime right after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But Tom, thanks again.
Yeah, thank you, Ethan.
Appreciate it. That's the Who by Numbers. We really liked it. You should go listen to it. We'll see you guys next time. Like, share, subscribe. Thanks.
Ain't it funny how they're all Cleopatra when you gaze into their past, when you find out about their birth sign?